Hey y'all, let's dive into session 3. The exciting part, talking about the different types of ads and all the fun things associated with advertising. Again, if you have questions, even along this way, there's going to be questions, no doubt, because advertising in general is crazy, and then adding it on Pinterest is even more fun. So ask Christina in the client concierge, especially if you just have questions now, or if you have questions in general about ads, let us know. And you can definitely chat or message us at support@pinsforprofit.com. All right, so the types of campaigns and marketing strategies. So it's really important to determine your goal targets for highest conversions. So we'll talk more about the different options for leads and optimizing for deeper funnel objectives, and then also determining the most effective campaigns based on your goals. And there's a lot of different types of campaigns, so I want to go through and kind of teach you about what is available to you on Pinterest. And then top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel campaigns we're going to talk through, and then multi-product campaigns, what's the best option for that, and choosing the best options to optimize for in your objectives. So make sure to have your goals in mind, whether it's awareness, if you want to go straight to purchase, if you're looking for purchases, if you're looking for registrations for a live event, and also keep in mind your goal ad spend and then the number of products you want to optimize for, because your budget's going to be determined by the number of products that you have, the number of ad sets that you can create, that kind of thing. So definitely keep that in mind. And then of course, let's start with this top of funnel idea. So how in general are you getting brand new folks who've never seen your brand to see your offer? So this may be a lot of different kinds of ways. In general, most people, if they're brand new, it ends up being some type of an organic strategy. So if you are, say that may look like, okay, I'm posting in Facebook groups, or I'm trying to do some type of a search strategy on Google, or I'm just posting on Pinterest, like my general organic strategy, that's great. You want to take some of those organic techniques into what you're trying to optimize for awareness, for initially getting started, for people who've never seen your brand before. And you also want to think about the type of objectives you're trying to hit for people who've never seen your brand before. And usually what we recommend is that you try a mix of things. So usually it's very hard in general, just as from an advertising standpoint, because I said earlier, generally it's taking 14 touches from a time a person sees your brand till they feel enough trust to actually purchase from you. So think about that when you're driving traffic for top of funnel. You're not going to have as aggressive of a call to action. Like you'll have maybe a read more, a learn more, some type of an indoctrination situation where they can see a little bit more information about you, more information about your brand. I usually recommend for your top of funnel stuff that you have pictures of you. If you're whoever your brand ambassador is, or the person that's like the face of the brand, you probably want to have images about them, information about their story. So even if you have an info product brand, this is extremely important. For e-commerce brands, I still recommend doing things like this. We still see really good high conversions with people talking about their product, how they started their product, how it's sourced, how they got into the industry. Usually there's a great story behind that, and people love behind the scenes things. So if you can kind of start this process, and behind the scenes is really good for middle of funnel too, but for top of funnel, just imagine you'd never seen a brand before, and what is it going to take for you to trust that brand? Usually it's things like having good branding, their messaging is really clear, like what is your offer? Who is this offer for? What problem is it going to solve? Who is this going to help? What's going to be, what is it? Why does this matter to me as a viewer? Why does this content, why is it interrupting my feed? And how is it relevant to me? How is it going to matter to me? So think about that as you're creating your top of funnel offers. And then on Pinterest, one of the ways that we create really good top of funnel offers is by driving folks to a blog or an article that was written about your product, or a review of the product, or something that's going to be education based. And then at the end of that, we make them an offer. Usually it's not a expensive offer or crazy offer unless you have only one offer and that's what it is. That's fine. But in general, something that's going to, so in marketing, there is this concept that breaking the barrier to purchase, it's called, which is even if it's only $7 or $5 or something, or $1, people, once they break that barrier to purchase and they purchase something with you, the likelihood of them purchasing again or additional things is like 85%. So even if it's gonna not be break even for you to acquire a new customer, but over time, you know that your lifetime value is high, or even your average order value is high. And once they make that dollar purchase and you have 3 other upsells, and the total for those upsells is $97, then maybe that's a profitable funnel for you. So you want to think through this idea of like creating good branding, creating something that's going to break especially on Pinterest, this works exceptionally well, breaking this barrier to entry. So one of the ways that we do it is we have downloads, like we have a $7 Pinterest ads guide that we run on Pinterest, which is exceptional. And then at the end, there's a $97 mini course upsell on that. And that does really well. And it's good for lead gen. It's good for finding people who are interested and like more serious about your offer, because all the looky-loos are not going to be they're not even going to usually break that barrier to entry. So you'll have higher quality leads on your list. You'll have folks that are looking more for upsells. And then even for like some of our, so if you have, one of the strategies that works really good for e-com is we usually recommend, so for example, say you have a skincare kit or whatever, sometimes there's like a travel kit or something like that people can use to test a few of the products out. And that is a really good like entry level offer. It's usually cheaper in price. It gives people a chance to test the product out. We've done that for makeup, hair care, skin care. We've done like little bundle offers and things like that for subscription boxes that allows you to get, maybe they try one of the smaller subscription boxes and they try all the products, and maybe we've done like a lot of kids toys with subscription boxes and things. And so they try it, the kids love it, and then now there they are as a lifetime customer. But anytime you can get some type of a travel kit or something small, I would highly recommend that for top of funnel for Pinterest. And then of course, education-based stuff. Even if you're an e-commerce brand, having a guide related to your product or a magazine that you created works really well. For food and drink brands, we do a lot of like recipe books, something that you could create into almost like an ebook that you could give away. Usually we have one that's like a PDF that's a free giveaway, and then we have one that's a little bit higher tier that's more of like a $7 to $20 offer that breaks that barrier to entry. So once they get in, then they're on your email list, and then you've got a much higher success rate of keeping them with you for longer term. So yeah, that's a great strategy. Now for middle of funnel, how are you getting to folks that maybe have once or twice seen your brand? Maybe they remember your offers, or maybe they don't. This is where retargeting starts to come in. So maybe somebody saw your offer sort of that they can barely remember, but that's okay. You're still implanting seeds of trust with the top of funnel. And then you're hitting them with middle of funnel offers, which may be a little bit more in depth. Maybe it's like an actual product, or maybe it's a bundle, a small bundle for Mother's Day, or maybe they're looking for a gift, and you could bundle your products in a way that would allow them to try 3 or 4 different products and still be reasonably priced, and you could give that as a gift, or bundle it in a way where they can do a test. Those usually work well for middle of funnel as well. And then I would also say I would still stick with lifestyle type images for middle of funnel, where you have you using the products or your customers using the products. You can start with the reviews type of messaging for this, and definitely try middle of funnel, because maybe the top of funnel, they just saw an initial education piece. Middle of funnel, now they're starting to see, okay, there's plenty of other people that really like this topic, like this product, like this piece of information, etc. And then you can start hitting them with just product information on your bottom of funnel stuff. And so middle of funnel is great for even more like deeper education and even more of like a deeper emotional connection. So maybe you get deeper into your story, or you share a story of somebody else who has purchased your products or services, and their experience does really well for middle of funnel. And then bottom of funnel, how are you getting warm and hot folks to actually pull the trigger? So in this case, it may be a variety of things. Generally, I would recommend if you're going to do some type of discount code, this is where you would start doing the discount codes. Like you want to get these people purchasing, and you've spent a lot of money filling up your funnel, we call it, where you're spending to get in front of people on top of funnel and middle of funnel, and then now they're in the bottom of funnel, and you want to push them over the edge to the funnel to become a customer. So to do that, usually we are a little bit more aggressive. You're going to use calls to action that are more like buy now. For top and middle of funnel, it's going to be more like learn more, read more, find out more, figure out this, that kind of thing. For bottom of funnel, it's generally try now, purchase now, buy now, that kind of thing. So you can get away with more just straight product images because you can assume that they've already started to see your brand. You can still do some reviews if you wanted to here. You can do more like what's in the product, ingredient lists. I would say probably more middle of funnel, top of funnel, and then bottom of funnel, you can just say more results focused. You can't make any promises on your bottom of funnel, but you do want to think about, okay, what are the results they're trying to attain? And then again, that fits in with the search engine buying behavior where they're looking for very intentional based products and they're searching for products in the bottom of funnel too. So if you can kind of get that through the process a little bit more and think about that too, as they're seeing an image, saving it and coming back later, you want to make sure you're answering their question, solving their problem. Excuse me. And that they've planned for this purchase so they're ready to purchase. Okay. And again, 20 days is the average amount of time it takes for a customer to convert. So as you're thinking through creating your top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel, that can help you with generating the amount of frequency, the timing when you're selecting that audience. So for your top of funnel audience, it may be weeks 1 and 2, or week 1, they are considered top of funnel and you're driving them to customer awareness. And then week 2, you're hitting them more with middle of 2 and 3, middle of funnel. And then week 4, you're hitting them more with bottom of funnel type of objectives that have more of a call to action, etc. on them. And that also, so inside Pinterest, you have what are called look back windows. So you can look back, you can tell the algorithm to look back on a certain number of days, and you can split out your audience sizes based on those number of days. So then you know, okay, I'm only hitting this audience day 7, whatever. I'm only hitting this audience, whatever days back you want to look. So you could hit the people that visited your site the last 30 days, people that visited the last 60, et cetera, et cetera. Last 1 day, the last 7 days, all of those things are options on there. So think about that. And then you can hit them with, you can show them great ads and great products that they want to purchase. So, and then of course, hitting your target KPIs. So determining, we talked earlier about, okay, what is your ROAS goal? Are you wanting to just drive straight to conversions? Are you trying to generate leads? Is this an event? Are you trying to generate registration? Are you trying to just get brand awareness? This is a brand new brand. You know it's new. You want to get in front of people for cheap clicks and get impressions. Or are you looking to get people to convert on your video? There's a lot of different options inside Pinterest. And you can see some really like crazy results. We've had some awesome, like this one's kind of insane. Again, in the Australian market, you have a 29x ROAS. So they spent $8,000 an ad and got $233,000 back and a $7. This was a very low price product. I think it was a $25 goal CPA, which is amazing. This was a jewelry product. So they, we were trying to, from what I can remember, this was during the last holiday season. So it was about 6 months ago. So we were trying to optimize directly for purchase and really just trying to get a lot of purchases and working on increasing their average order value. So when they had smaller price products, they were bundling them together in 3 and 4 products or 5 products, and you get a discount. For example, if you buy 3, then you get 10% off. If you buy, or no, it was 2, 10% off, 3, 20% off, and 4, 25% off, or 5, 25% off. I can't remember. That was a way that we were able to increase their average order value. And then after a certain price point, they were able to get free shipping. So there's a lot of different incentives that you can use to try and help increase your average order value. but it works amazingly well. And then we had so again, their goal CPA was 25 and we were able to get like $8 CPAs, which is crazy. So over time, Pinterest has really great opportunity for lower CPAs, consistent long-term ROAS, higher staying power because things are lasting outside the attribution for organic, lower cost per lead, almost always happens about month 3 or 4 after you've been running ads for a little while, and really good high quality top of funnel traffic. So even if you're just, most of the time I don't recommend for new brands to run brand awareness campaigns because on Facebook you can do it a little bit because you're trying to get social engagement, but because on Pinterest, I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier, people don't generally comment or make a lot of likes and things. Like, you can do that on Pinterest, but most people don't generally do that. And the reason why I would recommend doing brand awareness on other platforms is so you can get a bunch of likes and comments, and then you can use those post IDs, they're called, to create new ad sets that are going to pull in all those likes and comments from your old ads into your new ads and create even more social proof on your ads. That's not the same on Pinterest, but our brand awareness campaigns are going to be hitting your keywords and focus more on your keywords, which is still extremely valuable. So I recommend, if you're going to do brand awareness, it's in that with that perspective. But don't worry about engagement, that kind of thing. You're just not going to see the same thing on Pinterest. Okay. So when you're choosing your objectives for paid ads, you have a lot of different opportunities. So brand awareness, we mentioned this a little bit, talked a lot about optimizing for impressions and clicks. So if you're a brand new brand, you just want to optimize for getting the word out there. You want to try a certain amount of keywords, that kind of thing. And you don't need your budget to be directly tied to conversions. So usually brand awareness is done as a percentage of the overall spend. So maybe it's only 5 or 10% of your overall spend is done on brand awareness. But if you have a brand that is more like you've been around a long time, maybe you've been on Pinterest for a while, then I would just say skip the brand awareness. You don't need it. Traffic campaigns. These are great. These are one of our I'd say this is probably like our third most used campaign. And those are not algorithm based, which means you don't have to get the 50 conversions to train the algorithm to find your audience pockets and things like that. I recommend traffic campaigns for top of funnel objectives and for anything that you're going to run short term. So earlier I said I don't usually recommend doing anything short term. What we consider short term on Pinterest is about a month. So say you're late to the game, you only have a month before Mother's Day to start running ads, then I would do those in traffic campaigns and not in conversion campaigns because they can't last and you're not going to see the delayed attribution like you want to. So just test it on the traffic campaigns and see how it goes. You'll still get conversions and things like that. And then they do have an auto bidding option. So you can either choose your manual bid. So say you want to just put $30 a day. If you're going to do manual, we don't do as much manual. We used to do aggressive manual bidding. Now we do more of the auto bidding. But if you have a certain budget that you're trying to hit, I would recommend starting with the traffic campaigns and just max capping your budget for whatever you want it to be in that campaign and keeping more of your budget for the conversion campaigns. There are a lot of strategies for retargeting. You can retarget audiences in any campaign. So just so you know that, you can try traffic, conversion, shopping, etc. You can retarget. So just know that there's a lot of different audiences that you can create and things like that for retargeting. Conversion campaigns. So these are algorithm based. These are the ones where you can optimize for deeper funnel objectives. So add to cart, checkout, and lead are really the only three. I don't think you can do video views. No, video views have set up now their own separate type of campaign. So essentially you have to, you don't have to, but I recommend that you're trying to get the 50 conversions, at least in your first week of running ads or your first couple of weeks of running ads, so that you're feeding the algorithm enough conversions that it's going to allow you to automatically bid and automatically find the right audience pockets and things like that. This is the best strategy for that. Also, for conversion campaigns, you generally need more budget. The goal metric is to have at least 5x or 5 times your target CPA per ad set per day. So for example, say you have a $50 product that's profitable at $25 and $25 is your target cost per new acquisition. Your goal budget should be $125 a day in that ad set. Does that make sense? So if your goal product is $25 to hit a new customer, you need at least 5 times your target CPA to be profitable, generally, at least when you're starting, because the budget capping on Pinterest is very touchy. So you want to make sure that you are giving it enough budget to find enough conversions, that you're not stomping it out before it's finding those conversions, especially in the beginning. Shopping campaigns, woo woo! I love these guys; they're my favorite. So shopping campaigns, you can create feeds inside your shopping campaigns, which will pull your products from your website and essentially share and create a shopping experience for your customers based on the products that are on your website. They're going to pull every image from from your website images in your product. So just be aware of that as you're looking through your website. Make sure you don't have any extraneous images in your product images. Make sure that each image is something that you would be comfortable being pulled in as its own product ad for your product. The descriptions are a little bit more descriptive on shopping because it is pulling in information, but you do want to add into your product descriptions if you're using Shopify or whatever it is, if it's for e-commerce. Generally, shopping is only for e-commerce right now. So then you want to make sure your product descriptions are in alignment with the search terms and things like that, so that as people are searching your products, they're going to show up in your shopping campaigns. Shopping campaigns actually do have a dollar piece if you're using USD or Australian dollars or whatever, or Euro based. They show the actual purchase price. So if you have a $39 project, it's going to show skincare for $39 for that product. So just so you know, the product prices are going to show up on that. Video views. So there's another type of campaign. This is a newer campaign. It's a little more expensive, so I don't generally recommend doing video views campaigns. You can add videos into any of the other campaign types. But if you wanted to just, like, for example, we have one of our advertisers in France who's in one of our mentorship programs. He uses the video view campaigns almost exclusively because France video view campaigns serve really well. They're cheaper and they seem to do exceptionally better. So that's fine. They're not algorithm based either. So you want to make sure that you end up optimizing for 25%, 50%, or 75% of the video that's viewed. So if you have a 10-second video, 25% of that would be 2.5 seconds. If someone viewed 2.5 seconds, you can retarget those 2.5-second viewers with, maybe they're still top of funnel, you could retarget them with a middle of funnel type of objective the next time. Idea pins, these are coming soon. I don't know if you guys have heard the hype about idea pins, but essentially it's the same idea as when Reels and Instagram stories came out on Instagram, and then the TikTok Reels that are out now. Pinterest is trying to compete with those, I guess, or offer you the same opportunity on their platform. And so essentially we're doing a mixture of carousels and videos and things like that. You can't currently use those in your ad campaigns, but you can see them in Ads Manager. And we've talked to our reps and they are saying that it's going to be a couple months and then we'll be able to run those, and I'll keep you guys posted and see how they do. But I have a feeling they're going to do great because they have been pushing these idea pins really hard. The organic reach, they've essentially kind of squelched organic reach on anything but idea pins right now. So my suspicion is they're going to be pushing those really hard in the algorithm as well. So for ads, so we want to make sure we will be early adopters to test budget for you guys and let you know how it goes. Okay, so then with Pinterest, again, you have this intent-based search plus keyword search. And so you want to keep that in mind with each of these campaign types. You can bid on people's interests. Like, say you have, again, we'll go to the acne skincare regimen product. You can either bid on things like skincare, health, beauty, wellness, fitness, those kinds of things. And then you can also bid on skincare, acne, blemishes, those type of keywords. You can do those in their own campaigns, or you can do those in together in the same type of campaigns. So brand awareness, traffic, shopping is the only one that you can't do keyword campaigns. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, or at least we don't generally do that because we We have our audiences based on certain criteria and parameters. And then in general, you can add keywords into any of the other types of campaigns as well. And then with shopping, this is some interesting things that you can also do. They have the multi-feed option, which means, so say, for example, we had a client over the holidays that wanted to do like their general product feed for every product on their website, and they wanted us to break out their most popular best-selling products. And then they also created another separate feed that was just for holiday products. And so we wanted to break those out into their own ad sets and test and keep kind of their general evergreen products going. And then we also had one ad set that was just focused on holiday products and things that were bestsellers over the holidays. So it's cool that you can break those out and figure out, okay, which one's working best. It's really nice. Shopping campaigns are the only place on Pinterest where you can do dynamic retargeting. So what that means is, again, with the shoe example, where when you see this pair of shoes, where you love that one pair of shoes, and you are going to all the different places on Pinterest, and it's going to search. So say you have 300 products in your shopping feed, but you only engaged with one purple pair of shoes. Then the feed is going to only serve you ads again for that purple pair of shoes. So you're not going to see a million other pairs of shoes from that feed, but you're going to see the exact product that you engaged with initially. That's called dynamic retargeting. So that's the only place on shopping, is the only place on Pinterest that you can do that. And then you can do interest and audience targeting in here as well. We don't do a lot of keyword targeting in here. I can't remember if they removed it or not. We weren't using it a lot anyway because we wanted to expand the audiences and make sure they're broad enough to be large enough audience sizes that are going to make sense for you inside each ad campaign as well. And so this is what the inside of a shopping campaign looks like. You have your different product groups. So when you create a product feed, which is essentially a link that pulls all the products from your website into the shopping campaigns, when you create that feed, it's going to automatically create a list of different product groups for you. And you can optimize this inside your website. And then inside Pinterest, you can also create product feeds inside there as well. So if you want to select only certain products, or these are your best sellers, or sometimes it pulls in a product that's on back order or something like that, you can definitely create your own custom feeds. And you can also change your, so most popular, new arrivals, back in stock, all products. And then I think they have a few more. Usually it just depends on the site. They will automatically populate a list for you, and you can choose those. And you can also click inside there and see which products are on that list and remove or add them. And then you also have your format where you can see a collections ad or shopping ad. Collections ads are great if you have multiple product images for each product and you want to feature some of those product images, you can do that. And then you also have just the general shopping ad that's you're going to see within your feed. You can also select your general product groups, targeting, budgeting, scale and delivery, audiences, all that kind of stuff. Yes, shopping campaign is essentially the same as a catalog campaign on Facebook or Google. Okay, so here's a great set of results that came from shopping campaigns. We usually, it just depends. We break out a lot. If you have a lot of different product groups, we're going to break out things into a lot of different things. But essentially they did $23,000 a month in ad spend and made over $200,000 that month. So it was almost a 10x ROAS, 9x almost. So, and we were dropping CPAs like flies, which is great. So they had like a $42 goal CPA, and we were able to get an average of $17. So that's amazing. We had, okay, so the click-through rate, I do want to make a note of this. So click-through rates in general on Pinterest are not always directly correlated with your purchases. So that's a big number. Like when you're using Facebook ads or Google ads, a lot of people are spending a lot of time on click-through rates and wanting to make sure that your click-through rate is really high. And that's a very specific indicator on Facebook and Google of how people are engaging with their ads. We have found over running millions of dollars a month in ads that it's not always directly correlated for us. So we don't force the issue, especially on conversion campaigns. They don't necessarily directly correlate at all. So it really just depends. You kind of have to just do some tests and wait till you start seeing conversions and figure out which images are going to get the most conversions. Here's another really good example. This is a US account. These guys spent $227,000 that month and got almost a 10x ROAS as well. So, and they had crazy, we were optimizing mainly for lead on a lot of this stuff. Oops, sorry. So we were getting $1, 60 cents, $2, $4, even $8 leads. And then we were doing a couple funnel objectives that were like some deeper funnel optimized for sales. But we had just started doing optimizing for sales when I took this screenshot. It was last month or the month before. So, well, excited to see what's going to happen here. But these costs for leads are like crazy low. It's really hard to get anything less than $5 or $6, $10, $12 even on Facebook right now. So, hey, that's exciting. Okay, so just a couple quick more notes on the iOS updates because this affects how you set up your campaigns in general. So when the privacy updates came in, you used to be able to see much more granular data inside your ads manager of how you were selecting your audience. So demographics, location, there's a lot of things that have changed. Other things that people were interested in, ages, things like that are harder to track. And so the way that Pinterest has gotten around this has been really kind of nice, is they have this new enhanced match feature, which is essentially tracking folks not just on the pixel behavior, so how they're engaging on your website and things, but once they get on Pinterest, they have this matching feature that if they click your ad on Pinterest, they essentially hold on to your email address and attach data to your email address versus just attaching your behavior to the pixel on how you engage on the website. So that's very technical, but in essence, it's really good news for if you're a Pinterest advertiser, you want to advertise on Pinterest, you're going to be able to collect more granular data and keep some of that data as an advertiser that you probably wouldn't have been able to see on Facebook, etc. Also, so in general, if you're an e-commerce store, I recommend that you set up what is called server-side tracking. And what that does is it removes some of this pixel data tracking to be left up to just Facebook. Instead, you essentially create your own server that's going to collect data when people get to your website. Then you're going to be able to collect data based on your own server data collection information versus just relying solely on Facebook's targeting parameters or Pinterest targeting parameters, those kinds of things. You can do this inside Google Tag Manager. I highly recommend, if you have not done this, this is like critical, do it. You can ask us for recommendations. Usually you're going to need someone's help unless you're just like an extremely techie person that knows how to do a lot of tracking and things like that and use Google Tag Manager. The other thing is I mentioned earlier with the initial setup, we don't typically use the Pinterest native integrations anymore for pixel tracking. There's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of it has to do with this server-side tracking idea and being able to pull in more data. Pinterest does not share a lot of really good data. It's extremely hard to essentially code the tracking parameters. So we have our specialty coding and tracking system. If you need help with that, that's a separate service that we offer that actually we can set your accounts up properly for you. So if you need help with that, just message me. And then also they have new campaign types that they're trying to help optimize for last click optimizations and some things like that to push people to have a better, more interactive experience that's going to help them purchase within one session of working together. So that's a really critical thing that they're trying to help. There's some different options within the ads themselves where you can open that up and select those options. Having this multiple feed issue is great because then you can upload feeds on multiple servers and see which one's working the best, which one's not working the best, that kind of thing. And then you have additional metrics that they're trying to help measure with various different kind of like I mentioned earlier with the ROAS and the click-through rate, they're trying to get a little bit more granular with like overall pin clicks, and you'll see some new things that are coming out inside the ads manager to help you get some additional metrics. That's a little granular for this event, but you can definitely ask us questions. We definitely teach about that in Pin Ads Academy. You can learn a lot about that there. And then creative changes. So they're making creatives kind of like we talked about earlier with the idea pins and things like that, where you have the opportunity to use certain creatives that they're being optimized more, etc., to be able to get around this and create a better experience so people can engage with proper tracking. Okay, so let's talk about the type of audiences you can create. There's a lot of different options on Pinterest, and finding your ideal audience and helping them solve problems is one of the best things that you can do on Pinterest. And we talked a little bit about this intent-based targeting. So you want to reach people who want to buy your product, and then you have the customized audience demographics that you can choose based on. And these are chosen when the person first sets up their account. They make a lot of, I don't know if you guys remember this when you first set up your Pinterest account. There's a lot of different options on there that you can select. So you've got interest categories. They ask you questions about your business. They ask you questions about your likes and interests. They ask you questions about images and things that you like, about categories that you like. You probably forgot about this. I've had to create multiple accounts again to remember. And they change it. They keep changing it. So they're trying to get better and better about this demographics. And then, of course, how you interact on the site will help you, in general, become a little bit more educated on the different audiences that you can use, etc. And when you go inside Ads Manager, you'll start to see, okay, I can create audiences based on interests. I can create audiences based on lookalikes. They're called act-alikes on Pinterest, but essentially they're the same as lookalikes on Facebook, where if you have an audience, say you have a past purchasers list, you can upload that onto Pinterest. Say you have 1,000 people on there. It'll create an audience based on the size of that audience. So you can either do 1%, 2%, you can do 1 to 10% on Pinterest. So if you did a 1% size audience, it would be about 300,000 people that act like those 1,000 purchasers. So you can create those, and then you can use that as an audience that you select inside your ad campaigns to run ads to that audience. Then you have interest-based, keyword-based, and then also for your retargeting audiences, you have look back windows for site visitors. Anybody who's added to cart on your site, you can retarget them. You can add anybody who's engaged with, for example, if they've engaged with a pin, if they've clicked on a pin, saved a pin, that kind of thing, you can target those type of people. And you can also target people who have searched your keywords. And then also inside your search engine, you want to make sure that you're looking at different engagement audiences and things like that. So again, with the intent-based search and keyword search, we use a mixture of both. And then for your interest-based searches, you want to use broader keywords. The wider focus works better. The behavior emulates shorter tail keywords, broad search terms, and very instructional terms. Blogs, how to, all different kinds of any type of instructional videos. I'm trying to think of all the things. There's a lot. Okay, so Jasmine's asking, when should you begin retargeting? I would say right away. It's because especially if you've had anything up organically on Pinterest previously, you're already going to have a customer base. Make sure that you have your pixel installed before you begin retargeting. So that's one caveat. And then I would also say, in general, start right away, even if it's a small budget. So here you can see your options. You can reconnect with previous users, which would be retargeting. Anybody with site visitors, that kind of thing, you're going to see on their pin engagers, act-alike audiences, and then you can find new customers. Actually, the act-alikes fit under new customers because even though you're uploading a product list, you still have to create the audience. And you also want to make sure inside your act-alike audiences that you're choosing the right country. You can only choose one country per act-alike. So you can use multiple audiences inside your ad campaigns, but I would say in general, you need to make sure that each audience has its own selection. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on the countries. So The types of audiences, again, you have your top of funnel interests, which is going to be people who have never seen your brand before, who are interested in other things or interested in something that's broader. So skincare, for example, with the acne treatment cream, or beauty, for example, and then that would be considered top of funnel broad interest. Then you have the keywords, which are going to be very specific about what they're engaging with, what you think they're going to be engaging with. Shopping interest is going to be similar to this top of funnel interest. So we break out our shopping campaigns based on our top of funnel and then our dynamic retargeting, which is the only place you can do dynamic retargeting inside shopping, but that should be its own separate ad set at a minimum, if not its own campaign. Site visitors campaign, which is standard for any retargeting campaigns. With Pinterest, you can also hit pin viewers and engagers. I don't have it on this list. You can do video views, and then you have add to carts. You can do the act alike, and then you can also retarget your own audience lists. So say you had a list of 1,000 leads and none of those had converted yet. You can upload those and then just do some retargeting ads to your lead list as well. Or say you have a new product and you have a past purchasers list and you want your past purchasers to purchase the new product, you can upload that list and use that inside your ads manager as well. Okay, so for your setup strategy, I mentioned our pin ranks, e-com system structure and foundation. So that means you've got to have good creative, the right targeting, the right tracking, and then of course over time you're going to get data so you can be optimizing. And that requires a lot of skills to be able to do it. But you guys are already getting a lot of those skills by understanding the buying behavior and really getting clear on who you can target and things like that on Pinterest. So these are the things that you have to learn and kind of get comfortable with in order to have success on Pinterest. So the most important skill, we talked about this in the beginning, is patience. It's one of the hardest things to do on Pinterest because especially if you're used to doing performance marketing and you're used to saying, okay, I set up a new ad set, I'm optimizing for leads, I'm used to getting 10 leads for this budget by this date. You can pretty much double that for Pinterest, and you can safely assume that your first 10 days or so, you really shouldn't make any ad changes to your ads, even if it doesn't look like it's performing. Just throw that out the window. You don't know yet. It takes, again, 20 days, usually average, from the time a person sees an image until they save it. So then you got to remember this. If I set the ad up on January 1st, somebody comes in and even if they see it on January 1st, they save it and then they come back on January 20th and purchase. So that's the average. So then as you're running those ads each day, so by February 1st, you have only a small group of people that have seen that initial ad or saved it, and very small period of time that people have actually come back and started to purchase. So it really just starts to build on itself. It's got a mixture of this social and search buying behavior where people are searching. There's nothing else like it. So if you're trying to kind of wrap your head around this idea, there's really nothing else that I can give you an example of. Pinterest is very unique, and that's one of the reasons why people are either afraid to try it, or they have tried and didn't have success, or they're wanting to try it. But I want to help people avoid making the common mistakes. And one of those big things is not understanding this delayed attribution and not understanding that it takes longer attribution windows and a longer time. So again, patience is critical. You have to remember, and this is not as stressful. If you guys have never run an ad, then it probably seems like, oh yeah, I can do it. But this is the thing. I always tell folks, our clients pay us to take the emotions out of the process. I get to be the one that makes decisions that are not emotional. Because if you get emotional and you start getting excited and you start getting frustrated, that's really going to stress you out and affect your ability to be logical about advertising. And advertising is logical. It's not really emotional. So, I mean, as a user, and getting advertised to is emotional, but being an advertiser is not emotional. You have to separate your emotions. It's kind of like the stock market. Like you're trading, you know these companies are valuable, you know the offer is valuable. It's just a matter of time of getting in front of the right folks who are going to make those type of buying decisions. The same is true for advertising. So you have to remember, Pinterest is not the same type of performance marketing platform as Facebook, Google, or Instagram. You're not always going to see that within the same session. A person sees an image, saves it, comes back later the same day, or they're not going to necessarily purchase the same time that they see that initial image. Sometimes they will, but a lot of times, and the majority of the times, they won't. So just make sure you're not approaching Pinterest with this small window with these extremely high expectations from the very first day and that kind of thing. I would say most of our clients, we tell them it's a 4-month solid trial to get really good data and figure out if this is going to work for you. Which 90% of the time it does, if you have the right strategy. So, and then you also want to do a mix of, and I talked a little bit about manual bidding earlier. So manual bidding is harder to do because Pinterest is very sensitive. So if you go over the bid or under the bid, it's really going to stop performing. So you always end up having to be a little bit over the bid, but you don't want to be too much over because then it stops performing again. So ideally, if you're starting out, I recommend do the campaign budget optimization, which means automatic bidding. Allow the algorithm to find your right people, allow it to find your right budget. And then once you have an idea of what's working on Pinterest, then I would start a new ad set. If you really want to try manual bidding, manual budgeting, start a new ad set, and then you can try it in there. Probably want to start higher than you think initially though. Okay, here's a really cool case study. We had a hair extension brand. They had hit $125,000 a month in Facebook sales. And after 4 months, it was time to really start opening a new channel. So we decided we were going to try Pinterest ads. Within the first 45 days of working with us, they had 16,000 new visitors to their website, which is amazing because if you have a really good high conversion rate on your website, then getting good high quality traffic to that means that you're going to get a lot of conversions. So driving more traffic equals more conversions. So yay, that's why I'm heavy hitting on this conversion rate optimization, because if you spend $10 to get a visitor to your site and they only convert at 2%, that's only 2 conversions. If you spend $10 and your website converts at 5%, or we'll say 50% for this, then you got 5 conversions for the same amount of traffic. Does that make sense? So that's why it's very important to conversion rate optimize your site, make it the people that do land on there have a higher chance of converting. And so you can get their ROAS was steady at 3x, which is amazing. They had a massive return customer rate. So getting a new customer was like gold for them. And then we started with $150, which is a modest budget initially. And we were quickly scaling up to $5,000 a week, $10,000 a week. And it was getting amazingly fast. And then we did also a lot of organic as well. And we would create a lot of organic content because they had so many great like hairstyles and things that you could do for organic content that we were able to create larger audiences for retargeting as well. And then we did a mixture of a keyword strategy as well. So here's a good example of another Australian brand that did really well with I think that was like a $35 target CPA, and we were able to hit like half of that, which I would say is pretty standard on Pinterest. We can generally hit about half of what their goal is, which is super fun. It does take a little bit of time though. So, okay, so we went through the ad campaign type. So you want to make sure with your different ad campaigns that you have the awareness goals and conversions in mind again. So with the intentional CPMs, I was going to talk about bidding strategies as well as budgeting. So brand awareness, again, I usually recommend 5 to 10%, and you want to have a small budget for brand awareness that you're bidding on just clicks. For traffic campaigns, I would recommend that you have also a small budget, somewhere like 10% or less. And then I would also recommend that you do automatic bidding here. And for your budget, I would say you don't have to be a stickler on the 5 times your target CPA on traffic. For retargeting, I would recommend, if you can get away with it, do it in conversion campaigns and just optimize for straight objectives and do the 5x your target CPA and have a good amount of budgeting, probably 30 to 40% on retargeting. Conversion campaigns, definitely as much budget as you can spend here. On top of funnel objectives to try and drive straight for conversions, you definitely need to have your 5x target CPA and have probably, depending on how much new business you need, will depend on your amount of money that you're going to spend on conversion campaigns, but I would say at least 20 to 40%. And then shopping campaigns, depending on how many products you have, this one I would scale as much as you can. Video views we don't use anymore. So, but if you can get away with it, then I would probably do a lot of our campaigns if they worked really well. Sometimes in the Australian clients, they do well on the video views, but in general, this is going to be a mixed bag of how much budget you use on there. And then we'll find out about the idea pins coming soon. So, and then you want to make sure that you have your business account and everything set up. You'll have, we'll talk a little bit more about this on how the different things that you can see. You want to make sure that your billing and everything is set up to run and test ads ASAP, because you can't launch anything until, really you can't even see anything inside your account until your billing is set up. And we want to make sure that you're able to at least do some research on keywords and stuff like that. And then you want to have good images and creative. Make sure that you're, the only place that you can't use your own personal creative is going to be in shopping campaigns. It's going to pull your creative from the shopping as well, the shopping from your website. Otherwise, you want to use good creative for video, etc., and images. So definitely, if you're tired of ad bans, product bans, again, we don't have any of those things, and you also don't have to create a million freebies and opt-ins, but you can just have some really good high quality ones that do exceptionally well. So this is another great account that was doing 20x ROAS, which is like just insanity. I'm showing you guys a lot of the really good ones. I would say on average, I mean, we have a lot of exceptional results, but on average, we're looking at between 3 to 5x return on spend, which is amazing. Here's another really good one, 50,000 a month, made 371,000 that month with a 7x ROAS, which is awesome, and low CPAs. So definitely, as you're considering the next step in your conversion engine, where you're going to generate traffic from, what Pinterest fits into your schedule, fits into your algorithm, I highly recommend that you start using that as your, or at least considering it as your next opportunity to open a new traffic channel. So, okay, perfect. We're going to do a quick walkthrough. I'm just going to take a quick little 5-minute break, and we'll just get rocking back in and start going through account setup and looking at all the different things in Ads Manager, so you can start reading that, etc., and getting your ads set up. If you have more questions, then go ahead and message us in the chat, or you can message Christina at support@finsperprofit.com.